I'm getting pretty comfortable with Japanese. I forgot to mention I have been having probably 60% or so of my dreams in Japanese now. That started a couple weeks ago, maybe like a week and a half ago. I started having dreams in Japanese. Really weird. I woke up and I was like, I seriously just had a dream in Japanese. We had another earthquake, and this earthquake was like somewhere around a 5 and a 6 on the Richter scale. It was like a pretty legitimate earthquake. I saw some footage of some damage to some infrastructure closer to the epicenter. But like, I mean, we were pretty close to it. But you know, things were just shaking around. It wasn't too bad. I knew what it was this time as opposed to the last time when I had no idea what was going on. So, you know, I pulled some heavy things down off the shelves, but then it didn't stop, and so I got really concerned, so I went under my desk like you're supposed to. You're supposed to just kind of, what you do is when there's an earthquake, you maybe take down something heavy in case it falls on you. Well, that's what I do anyway. You want to secure your open doors because in a big earthquake, the door frames can warp a little bit and you can get stuck inside. So you open the doors and then you hide under something and kind of duck and cover in case things fall from the ceiling. So yeah, I mean, it just lasted a little longer than the last one, so it was concerning, but it was okay. So, English, when you speak Japanese in Japan, everyone in Japan studies English as part of the post-World War II treaty. They study like 8 years of English, just like we study 8 years of English in our schools. So, it's kind of a battle. It's a battle of wills when you first start talking to somebody that can speak a little English, because they finally kind of have a chance to use their English, and you want to use your Japanese. So it's really kind of like they'll speak in English, you'll speak in Japanese, they'll speak in English, you'll speak in Japanese, and you kind of raise the stakes until somebody can't hack it, and then you stick with the language. And so it's kind of a pain. A good example is Fujita Sensei, because he's an English sensei, and so no matter, every time he talks to me, he speaks to me in English, I speak to him in Japanese. And he still speaks to me in English. It's just, I don't know, it's hard. So you just have to pick and choose. And to make matters worse, they paired me up with a lot of English majors, and so they all want to practice their English. So it's kind of hard. You have to kind of actively choose your friends based on how much Japanese you want to be speaking. Kind of a pain. And finally, I'll talk about Japanese television for a minute, because I was watching some last night, and it just kind of made me reflect on how different it is. So you see a lot of cell phone commercials, and a lot of drink commercials, lots of cell phone commercials. And I was watching a Japanese drama, which is really, it's not quite a sitcom, and it's not quite a drama. It's hard to classify. It's Japanese. It's really just Japanese. The big thing about it that's really different is that rather than have their cartoons reflect real life, you watch anime and it's really just kind of like over the top, and it deals in stereotypes. Anime deals in stereotypes. Everybody's just like the absolute extreme. Rather than instead of stereotypes, have anime reflect real life, they try to have their drama reflect what I feel like is their anime, where, I mean, I mean that exactly how you would imagine it. Just like, if somebody is like angry in a drama, they'll grab the food and or just like two people will just be like staring at each other like. But the plot is supposed to reflect like a real life plot, like real problems. So, it's actual drama, and they have, conflict and love and, all those things. But despite all that, all the realism, everybody is really, really over the top, and it's really interesting, and it's really entertaining, actually. just kind of watching how ridiculous they are. And then I also watched a comedy show, an akwardly, as they say. And the interesting thing about Japan is that they respond really well to gimmicks. So a lot of Japanese comedians have gimmicks. Like there's one guy in Japan that's really popular now, and his entire act is that he counts to 3, or he counts and then in multiples of 3 he makes a funny face and says it weird. He's like, each, ni, san! And san! And that's all he does. And he's huge. And I've seen him in other shows where, like, you know, there's this one show where it's these 2 guys from, not Kenya, but another country. There's some country in Africa that a lot of people come to Japan from. I don't know. Anyway, so there's these two black guys, and they're out in the woods, and their whole mission is that they hike around the woods, and they live in a tree house, and they have to find plants. And so this comedian was there. He's on the show, and he was introducing their next challenge. And so every time, Japanese has a lot of not onomatopoeias. It has a lot of onomatopoeias, a lot of homonyms, a lot of homophones. And so every time a word would have san in it, he would say it funny, and then everyone would laugh. And another interesting thing is that most of the time when you're watching shows, they will have a panel of, like, sort of celebrities from the show. They'll have a panel of people, and in the corner of the screen, and I'm sure you've seen it if you've ever watched Japanese television on YouTube or something, in the corner of the screen they'll have people watching what you're watching. So, like, basically, like, beautiful people watching and reacting to what you're watching. And so you're not only watching a program about, for example, I was watching one the other day while I was eating breakfast, and they found this girl who worked with her family to make art in Kyoto, and so they took her and they were going to give her a makeover. And so while they're doing the whole show, you know, they're talking about her art, and they're talking about all the stuff that she does, and, like, then they take her shopping and all that. But the whole time that that's going on, there's a little panel up here in the corner of your screen with another panel of celebrities that are, like, they're the celebrities that watch the show. They're celebrities in that they are part of the television program, because every time this television program does a show, it has this panel of beautiful people watching the television show. So it's those people, and you're not only watching the show, but you're watching those people watching and reacting to the show, which is interesting. In case the show gets boring, you can just watch beautiful people, I guess. So that's pretty much all I have to say right now. And I love you at home, and I'll talk to you in a day or two.